It's
Welcome back to the Pull the Chair podcast. My name is Paris Brown. I am your host with my two co-hosts, Tyler Reddington and Dylan Lima. How are you guys this week, man?
Doing good, doing good. Uh, Getting in the swing back of things. Uh, th- this is the best time, March Madness. I know this is an NBA podcast, but there's
Yeah.
a lot of good college basketball going on right now. A lot of people still playing in the tournament that I would like to see on the Dallas Mavericks. And I talked about Darius Acuff; he's been eliminated. But how about this Keaton Wagler fella out of Illinois? Man, that dude is a hooper.
Them
Uh,
Illinois
I
people
mean,
are huge, bruh. They're huge.
and,
the friggin' March Madness has been crazy. I mean, we could talk about how Duke choked away one of the craziest endings to like a March Madness game ever. Just having the lead, 10 seconds left on the clock. All he had to do is just get fouled and
what a
get free
shot.
throws, and then yeah, just an insane buzzer beater. Like that's why people watch March Madness for an ending like that.
That guy to have that defensive play and then hit that shot, well, unbelievable moment. Like, man, I wouldn't.
First,
I'll take
first of
him
all,
too.
for real though, what are we doing? Nah, they panicked. They got the ball in and said, "Oh, we have to gun this ball around the court. We have to." But the funny
Second
thing
year in
is,
a row.
I had UConn winning that game. I have UConn going to the finals. I'm like, whoo, scary.
Yeah,
Scary.
I mean, hats off to UConn for playing the full court defense and making that happen. I mean, they were gonna obviously try to press them regardless, but it was more of like rather than just fouling them right away, just trying to make them play
Yeah.
and be like, hey, at least try to advance it to other side of the court before we do anything about it. And clearly, the Duke couldn't even get across the halfway court.
No, you literally get that across half court and the game is over. And you
Yep.
can't. And he stretched his arm out. What a play, man, by the young fella.
Last thing though, how about Arizona though? They are dominating teams right now. I mean,
Yeah, they're
people are
really
talking about
good.
Arkansas. Arkansas had nothing against Arizona. That was an easy game. And then Purdue was fighting for the first half, and then Arizona was like, "Yeah, we're better. We're a better team than you," and just kind of took over in the second half. They're kind of dominating this run right now.
Yeah, and
That
Arizona.
Arizona Michigan game is going to be the game to watch in this Final Four. Arizona's been stopping everybody, and they kind of seem like to be the best team going into this Final Four. But don't sleep on Michigan, man. There's a reason why they're a top seed.
Arizona has a bunch of prospects too, just as well as Michigan. But
Michigan recruiting.
the freshman Coapede as well as Braden Burries for Arizona, both at one point Coapede before his injury was top 10 pick, and now I think Burries has slid up in there into the top 10. So a lot of prospects, and I love, man, March Madness is such a fun time to watch hoops. So
Oh yeah, but now let's get into the NBA. Starting with there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk for this week with teams taking over, people taking over teams, people talking about letting go of teams. I'm gonna start with because Tyler missed this episode. Um, the NBA agreed to the whole thing of getting having Seattle and Las Vegas have a team. That whole thing is settled now. It is agreed upon. Now we're in the process of buying out teams of who's gonna own these teams. Basically, that's the process. So we do know it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of time of getting all the paperwork settled out, stuff like that. Me and Dylan talked about it, so I do want to go to Tyler just because he missed it. If the draft were to happen this year, who are the 8 players you want your team to protect?
I mean, that's a great question. Interesting to think about. I haven't had to think about that in a really long time, actually. So that's kind of crazy. But obviously, you're going young. You're building around Cooper Flag, so you're going to have a core and some pieces that financially fit around building around Cooper Flag. You're going to keep Kyrie Irving just because of the mentorship and the and for the obvious reasons. I mean, come on, it's Kyrie Irving.
Yep.
Um, but man, that's a good question. Luckily, the Mavericks don't have the best roster, so I
Just
wouldn't
don't
have
like it.
I wouldn't have to worry about cutting four of my guys.
Who? How about this? Who's like someone you would definitely cut? Like if there was one person you would never want to see on the Mavericks ever again because
Oh
of
my
this shit, you
gosh.
gotta give one. Give one player.
Oh yeah.
Chris Middleton. When that happened?
No,
Ugh.
we already traded D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Davis, so we got
Uh,
rid of some. But I would probably say, man,
Clay
yeah.
Thompson.
No, I love Clay. Clay's still giving his service here. I and a lot of people do hate on Clay. But man, I would say, ooh,
I mean,
It's got to
Paris
be.
said Chris Middleton. I'm not a fan of Chris Middleton, so
well,
I'll
so
be all for him getting sent to
the
Las
fan
Vegas.
base will hate me for this, but tired of seeing Dwight Powell roll out there because whenever I whenever I see Dwight Powell, I know that we're headed for mediocrity, and he's been around the team for so damn long. Like I love him and want him forever embedded in the roster, but I'll take him. I'll cut his ass.
No Dwight Powell for Tyler on this Mavericks team. Gotcha. But we'll go on that topic. So the Trailblazers just sold their team to the Carolina Hurricanes for $4.25 billion. Huge deal right here. I think if you for me, I think it's a good idea only because this Carolina Hurricanes team has been good for some years. They are a pretty competitive team when it comes to hockey. So like again, our ownership doesn't do everything. Obviously, you need GM, you need a lot of management stuff like that. But it's been a while since the Trailblazers have been a good team, and they're going into an ownership who's used to having a good team. So like at least the standard there is going to be much higher than what this Trailblazers team has been performing at recently.
I have to. So, like, here's the thing, right? I mean, the original owner of the Trailblazers, I believe his name is Paul Allen, passed away. So now it's been kind of just ran by the state, for the meantime. And I mean, obviously, this Trailblazers team has not been really competitive at all for many years. Like, it's been a long time since like the LaMarcus Aldridge years that you could really point to like a Trailblazers team that say like, damn, they're trying to win something. Um, and I mean, the idea of like a competent ownership team, like, the Hurricanes coming in and taking over, maybe things will change. But I feel like there's been so many teams now that the ownership is like a group that owns other teams. And I feel like there's just so many problems with that because now you're diverting assets. The ownership group. I mean, obviously they're going to try to put the right people in place to make the right decisions. But at the end of the day, the ownership team is going to be cutting the checks. They're going to be the ones making the decisions to determine who's going, who's not going. And when I look at like the Red Sox with John Henry or um oh man, considering that he has partial ownership in a soccer team and like teams overseas, I think also the Rams owner also owns a Premier League team if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
So
Yeah.
like. I mean, like sometimes there are hits and sometimes there are misses. That's just bound to happen. But I'm always wary of these groups. I'm more for like a family or someone that actually like has the want to be a basketball ownership rather than just having it be another asset for this faceless, nameless group of people.
Fair.
Yeah, and I agree with Dylan a lot here. Do I think ownership matters? I think absolutely it does matter. Uh, do I think so many more things go into it? Yes, absolutely. It's a business comprised of so many different elements. So, I mean, the Portland, it is noteworthy because Portland has shown to have a decline after being, in the 90s, a growing organization. And they've never scraped the surface of, actually being one of those teams that, A, free agents want to go play for, or B, you want to play on national TV more than 8 times a year, or 6 times a year. Uh, so, uh, very, very interesting. Maybe plug a spark into this city somehow. Maybe you do something, but at the end of the day, it's going to come from within the people running it, the people playing for it.
I mean, Dylan mentions that he'd rather see it be owned by like a family or people that are really into it, but That's who Mark Cuban sold the Dallas Mavericks to as a family, and we see how that's going.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's always the best idea because one, we see how the Dallas Mavericks has gone, but two, even Mark Cuban himself isn't happy of who he sold it to.
I mean, like with Mark Cuban, I'm sick of hearing him, man, because that's been his whole relevancy for the past year or so. Obviously, since the Luka Doncic trade, where every time you hear him relate this, because keep in mind he still has a partial ownership in the Mavericks. He didn't like totally give up his all of his shares, so his bottom line is still directly in relation to how the Mavericks do. But look, man, he made the decision at the end of the day. He didn't regret selling the team. He just
No,
regretted selling who he sold it to. And that's up to him to do the proper diligence or hire the people to really make that right decision. Because at the end of the day, someone like a Mark Cuban, he's likely just going to the highest bidder. He's not, most likely. I mean, I imagine there was some talks and some kind of forward-thinking plan, but I'm sure Miriam friggin' wiped her ass with that plan and threw it over her shoulder when she walked out of that conversation. So, like, I mean, at the end of the day, Mark Cuban, you got to live with your choice. You're sitting on billions and billions and billions of dollars. I know he has the passion for the Mavericks and he helped make that team what it was. But I mean, like, I'm quite frankly, I'm done with him complaining and him getting news because of it.
Yeah, my thing is you almost got to ask, would he have sold the franchise if he knew Luka Doncic was going to get traded and this was going to happen? And the answer, in my opinion, is no. He never thought, and unless this was some collusion by the NBA, which we're not going there yet. But we hopefully have some hope of semblance of that not being true. Um, but he he understands that he made a fatal mistake selling it to who he sold it to. They had this big ornate plan of getting gambling legalized and building a casino here in Dallas because their arena's up in 2031 and they were going to build this next casino because they own the Sands and it's Vegas and it's Dallas and it's Luca and then all of a sudden we're back to back eliminated from the playoffs in March, uh, and on the precipice of a lottery again, talking and barely able to sell seats. And so I understand Cuban's frustration, and he's got to take a lot of the ownership on himself, which he's always had a history of not doing and kind of skirting things. But hey, I do think his love for the Mavericks is respectable, man. He put everything into this city. He put everything into this team. He's done so much for this franchise. So I get it. I get it. But a lot of the onus is on Mark Cuban.
are the Mavericks at least? Can you at least see the Mavericks heading in a positive direction from here on out? Because obviously it was rough. You had the rough moment. All the trade they were doing looking bad. Injuries. You get Anthony Davis. There's a bunch of weird stuff happening, but you've gotten rid of Anthony Davis, you've gotten rid of D'Angelo Russell, Cooper Fleck is your future. You still have Kyrie coming back next year. You're gonna get somewhere a good pick next year. Do you at least see this Mavericks team starting a trend back in the right direction starting next year and going forward?
Yes, I hope so. I don't know if it's as quick as next year because you got to put into account the fact that we don't even know if we had the GM that we wanted this franchise running this franchise to make the moves that we want to make yet. And a lot is needs to happen. So much on this roster needs to happen. With the point guard, the draft, so many different things, and we don't even have a GM in this team yet. Now, Riccardi and Finley did a great job of unloading Anthony Davis at the deadline and got a pretty good return for it, and maybe even got some pieces that we could keep going into next year. But all of this is going to depend on Cooper Flag. Is Cooper Flag that guy? Can he be a franchise player? And that's what Dallas is putting all their cards in.
Yeah, it was very obvious that was the reset button. I mean, between, getting Cooper Flag, getting rid of Anthony Davis. Um, I mean, they still have some aging vets on this team. They're still not totally out of the woods as far as that. But I'll give them a window of maybe 3 years of maybe really getting back there. Tyler, you're saying how they only have a permanent GM right now, so they still don't have a direction per se because that's what the GM is meant to be. He's supposed to be the
Right.
person that has the direction, that has the, you know, has the ownership's ear, has the coach's ear, and supposed to, make everything work. So that's step one. And then ideally you start building around Cooper Flag, and I think he's gonna be rookie of the year. So I think
Oh yeah.
they have a good start. Like there's worse teams out there that don't even have a star, that don't even have at least a foundation. The Mavericks do have a foundation. So now it's just a matter of getting the right guy in the front office, building around Cooper Flag, and give it a couple years, and I think they'll be back in contention.
I will say what I think they're gonna take some years, especially being in the West. The West is just so difficult, man. And obviously the East, the top obviously you got the top teams in the East. The Cavs are a good team as well. They're just have an injury. The Magic have potential. The Pacers should be good again next year. Who knows what the Heat are gonna do? Who knows what the Bucks are gonna do? But man, the West is just has so many stacked players that even when they're trending in the right direction, you have to like do double to be that good in the West and then come out of the West because you just if you're good, that's not good enough in the West. It's just not. If a good team in the West is gonna be about a 6, 7 seed, whether that good in the East could be a 4 or 5 seed. So like it just is a much harder for the West, which could make it a little bit easier to get a higher pick just because you're gonna have a harder schedule. But I mean, obviously, you got to get the GM first. I mean, I said no GM, no direction. That kind of is your first step. But I mean, having Cooper Flag, that you got a player. You got Cooper Flag. You got Kyrie coming out next year. You got Max Christie. I like Max Christie. He's a really good player. But like, yeah, something. It's not like you have nothing. You're not the Kings. You're not.
No,
Yeah, you're
we
not.
hope to get a. I mean, if we get a top seven draft pick and we get somebody like Keaton Wagler or Darius Acuff that I mentioned,
Mhm.
those are pieces that you and Cooper. That's Kyrie Irving. Boom, boom.
Yeah.
You start talking about something a little bit.
So yeah, you definitely got that. I will say now, talking about a team that's starting to trend in the right direction, the 76ers. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. Paul George and Joel Embiid are healthy now, which is helping them win. However, this is 100% a fluke. The last team I'm worried about in the East is 76ers. Mainly because one, when do they ever do anything in the playoffs in the first place? Two, when does Paul George do something in the playoffs other than when he was on the Pacers? Three, have you guys seen what their wins were? Yes, they're 7-3 in their wins, but I mean it's the Jazz, the Grizzlies, the Jazz, the Bulls, and the
Got a
Trailblazers.
Hornets
And
win in there. They got a
yeah,
Hornets in there.
hey, they snuck a Hornets win in there. But like 6 out of those 7 wins were terrible teams. Oh, they're terrible teams. I was like, oh great, we're winning games against the bottom seed of the NBA. Okay, I mean, I like it builds confidence. You have to have confidence going into the playoffs, so it does build that. And I'll give them that. They're going to have confidence going into it, but like, this is not even really preparing them for the competition about to face going on. The Kings, the Jazz, the Trailblazers, it's just not preparing them. It's not like they're blowing these teams out. They blew out the Jazz. Good for them, but like, the Bulls, like the Kings, they won some close games. The Trailblazers won some close games.
I mean, as far as the Sixers are concerned, I think it's just more of getting healthy at the right time. I mean, we just watched the Magic get absolutely spanked yesterday.
Mhm.
The Heat have been struggling lately. The Hornets also, they're starting to cool down finally. So I mean, even looking at those wins, like every single game, they're giving up at least 115, 120 points
Yeah,
every game too. So like the defense clearly isn't there. Um, but I think for them, it's like they're in the seventh seed. They could still potentially sneak out of the play-in. I mean, they're only a half game behind the Hawks, a full game behind the Raptors. So if one of them slip and the Sixers slide right in, and now you're talking about them going against maybe if they can get into that fifth seed, let's just say, right? If everything falls into place for the Sixers, they play against the Cavaliers. I think they match up pretty well with the Cavaliers. I don't. Cavaliers are one of those weird teams that. They've had some deep runs. They have the players that you would think make them, be a team to fear. But if you want to talk about players that haven't done anything in the playoffs, Donovan, look no further than Donovan Mitchell, friggin' James Harden, Evan Mobley. Like these are all people that I mean, Donovan Mitchell has played well, but he doesn't play winning basketball. Like he put up the stats, but not everybody else gets to eat around him really per se. So I think a healthy MB and a healthy Ball George, plus you got Edgecombe and Maxi, like that could be a recipe where maybe they could surprise for one of those. But if they go against a Pistons, a Celtics, or even a Knicks, maybe not so much. But like
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
I think where how I
that
viewed the Sixers earlier in the year to now, I do think they're more dangerous than they were.
I was literally going to say the exact same thing. Like, first of all, this team should be a lot better than they are right now, giving the talent and under Nick Nurse, they were playing good a month and a half or 2 months ago, playing really really good basketball, but they can never seem something about Philly, man. They can never seem to get over the edge. They should be closer to contention than they are closer to a first round exit right now, and that's just not the case. Philly, like you said, you take Philly up against Boston, that's a loss.
Yeah.
You take Philly up against somebody like Detroit. I just don't like it right now. They're actually losing to Miami as we speak. So they have spurts of playing good. And do I believe in Tyrese Maxey? I absolutely do believe in Tyrese Maxey. Do I believe in the others? Not so much.
I mean, looking at the 76ers team, I'm not gonna lie. Y'all talk about them beating teams. I don't really see them beating anybody. I mean, obviously top three, no. I don't see them beating the Cavs. I personally don't see that either. I mean, the Cavs, Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, they're gonna obviously they haven't been the best in the playoffs, but
And one more thing, I mean, 7-3 is good, but there's three teams in the West that are 9-1 in the last 10. So, you know,
even then, I mean, the Pistons are 8-2, the Celtics, the Knicks, the Cavs are all 7-3, the Hawks are 8-2. So teams are peaking. The 76ers team, I see them. They could maybe beat a Raptors team, and I don't think there's a chance there's even a path for them to face the Raptors. But they
yeah.
could beat a team like the Raptors.
What Embiid are you? What like what form of Embiid are you gonna get? What type? What are you gonna get from Joel Embiid come
What are you
first?
gonna get from Paul George in the
Ex-
playoffs?
Exactly. Or
I
what
I
are you
mean,
gonna?
like usually at this time of year, they're usually beaten down and friggin' destroyed. So I think just the sheer fact that they actually are healthy, I think will definitely change it. I mean, granted, is it one of those too little, too late things? Maybe. Like, have they had more time to play together and really show what they're made of? Could people's opinions on the Sixers be a little higher? Yes. Um, but I think they're at the very least going to be a playoff team.
Yeah,
Even if they are in the play-in, I think they're the best team of all the play-in teams right now as they stand. So that stands for something. And look, I mean, like, I think as far as skill guys, I do think Paul George's name gets unfairly tarnished. And same with Embiid. I think those are both very polarizing players that people love, people hate, and people tend to like to hate more than they love. So I think I think there's potential, but I think I don't think they're going to be more than a first round exit. Sadly, just how it goes.
It's always health for teams like this. Like you had a spurt where you did have Joel Embiid and Paul George on the floor, and you were seeing some really good basketball. All of a sudden, Paul George PDs and Joel Embiid injuries. Now we're talking
yeah,
about just Tyrese Maxey, who's been in the MVP conversations to some
he's
extent.
been good.
So I mean, it's like it's man,
And
it's a
don't
good
sleep on Edgecombe. Don't sleep on
He's
Edgecombe, man,
streaky.
because
He's just really streaky.
no. And he would be good
yeah.
in the playoffs. Like he would be an asset already in the playoffs. Like he's that good.
And I think for him, he doesn't have to be like a focal point of the team like he has been forced to be all season without Paul George and Joel Embiid. So I think he'll be able to pick his spots better to shine because he could go to the rack, he can shoot the lights out. He's a very good three-level guy.
Oh, yeah.
So like he's gonna be he may be the guy that like when everybody's distracted of the other three guys, you're gonna see VJ Edgecombe wide open. It's like why is he open? It's like well we got three other stars we got to worry
Hmm.
about. We can't worry about the rookie that had early rookie of the year talks before Concanopple and Cooper Flag took off.
But I mean, everybody knows these two things late going into April and going into May. Who's hot and who's healthy? Those are the
Yeah.
number two things that matter, and it's gonna be
Com-
what
Comparing
matters
these
again.
teams, though, if you're looking at teams they have to like might have to face, that's the 76ers. Do you think the 76ers beat the Raptors? If
Yeah.
okay, because do you think the 76ers beat the Hawks in a series?
I think
Yeah, they could.
it's tough. I mean, the Hawks they haven't been and the Hawks at its best probably not, but I just don't think this Hawks team really has like because playoff basketball is always different
Yeah,
and the Sixers have way more experience. Like those players have way more experience in that stage than any of the Hawks players really do right now.
yeah.
Like I mean, what you're gonna look at Nikhil Alexander Walker as a vet to really keep the team going when things aren't going their way. So honestly, I think I have the Sixers over the Hawks. Really, if
Okay.
I mean, it's not easy, it's not a slam dunk, but I think they have that.
I
It,
actually would too because I mean, yeah, it's but like I wouldn't
Dylan
be have.
Johnson, man.
But again, I wouldn't have them beating the top three big dogs like the Celtics, the
Well,
the
yeah, I'm
Pistons.
not going to compare them against them. That we know that's not. I'm more like 5 through 6. So Raptors, Hawks, and then the last couple of teams like the Magic. Do you think they beat the Magic? Because I say they beat the Magic. I
Big
say they
time.
beat the Heat.
Yeah, like I
Yep.
think
What
they
about
would.
the Hornets though?
Oh, see, the
Hornets.
Hornets. Like I told you about the Hornets, I told you they were going to make the playoffs. But like out of like let's just say the Philly that was in the play in, I would have the Philly winning. Like even if they were a 10 seed, I'd have them winning the play in. Like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, they're
I
they're
I can see them beating the Raptors. I do. I see them beating the Raptors. I see them beating the Magic. I see them beating the Heat. It's the Hornets and Hawks, and the Hornets I can see happening. The Hornets are just they can be hot, and they get hot really, and when they get hot, they're really exciting, and then you have to keep up with that. The Hawks, I don't know. The Hawks, it's not happened. They've had a hot streak. They've been hot since like the All Star break. They've been hot for some months now, not just having moments. They've looked good. Jalen Johnson, like we've mentioned, triple double, almost on the verge of triple doubles every game. Nickel Alexander Walker can play good defense. Dyson Daniels can play good defense. He just needs to learn how to shoot a three again. Like that dude forgot how to shoot a three. Richard Shea, you say a lot about him, but again, he can play good defense. They are spread out on the outside. They can play defense. And Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe aren't the biggest. They're just
You
yeah.
not.
you you can't
I'm
forget about CJ McCollum too.
Exactly.
But I mean, look at this Hawks team. Jalen Johnson's like the main focal point of that
Yeah,
team,
100%.
especially scoring wise. Nikhil Alexander Walker kind of feels like an outlier at 20 points per game, and then McCollum's your third guy as far as scoring goes. Okongwu is also a fantastic big. I think he's going to develop into someone very dangerous, but he's not quite there yet. Um, but again, I think established players are going to be what matters the most, and especially if you have an actually healthy Embiid and Paul George, which never happens this time of year. I
Yeah.
think that changes everything. And people don't. I think people overestimate them based on their past performances, and that's fair. But again, we're not. These are two guys that are notorious for not being healthy, and both of them are healthy at the right time. Where I think depending on their seeding, I think the hard line for me is Cleveland. That's very controversial because like definitely the top three teams are like the top tier of the East.
Mhm.
The Cavaliers you could kind of teeter between the top seed and like the top tier and the second tier, but then everybody else is so like congested
Yeah.
that the Sixers could make a move in these last few games. They really could.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, think about it. They're one game behind the Toronto Raptors at fifth seed, and they're half a game behind the Hawks at a sixth seed. How crucial is it that they get a top six seed? Because you don't want to mess with the play in. Like nobody does. Like yes, this is a good opportunity for some teams. For somebody like the Sixers, you're racing to get out of it. You're wanting to get that first series. You're wanting to play a full playoff series. And they're
and try and get that 5 seed because you get in that 5 seed, you
Yeah.
face the Cavs.
Yeah,
You anywhere below that, you have to face Pistons, Celtics, Knicks, one of the first series. You get to that
right.
5 seed, as we mentioned, you face the Cavs, which is like, and we're not gonna say that's an easy team, but like you'd rather face the Cavs before you face any of the other teams. So
Yeah,
like,
Most definitely.
especially with James Harden's injury, I think that's the big thing. The James Harden
right.
injury really demotes the Cavs a little bit because if he wasn't injured, I could see that with pairing with Donovan Mitchell because you have a big time shooter, but somebody who can't,
And,
he can only handle one direction.
and Harden's been playing pretty good with it, but
Right.
you could still tell. You could still kind of tell. Um, and it's gonna be interesting to see how big of an issue that is because Cleveland has looked a little bit more down to earth since all that.
Yeah. Since the trade has happened, but
Yeah,
next topic, man, and we just have to mention it just because it just happened today. Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey just got waived by the Chicago Bulls. He was traded at the trade deadline to the Bulls when the Bulls decided they wanted to get every single point guard and shooting guard known on the trade deadline. They pulled on every single point guard, shooting guard possible. They traded for Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey wasn't even playing for the rest of the season, and now he just got waived for what he said on a live stream. And I guess it's I don't want to say they overreacted because it's a fine line of freedom of speech and what you can and can't say, right? And he like told it right on that fine line where like what he said wasn't necessarily completely offensive, but what you said is gonna have consequences. And I think that's what people forget is gonna happen. You can have freedom of speech. That's not going away. You can say whatever you want to say. But what you say is gonna have consequences, and his consequence was the Bulls waived him. And in one sense, you could say it's a little harsh, but when you're not even playing for the team and they have 2,000 point guards and shooting guards on the team already, they're looking at some point they have to get rid of guards, and you just made it an easy way out. Oh, he said this, I can just get him off the team. There's one guard gone. So
It's tough because like I am someone that like hates when someone like because I mean like you said Paris was a fine line. Of course Jaden Ivey like the direct quote was saying how the NBA is celebrating Pride Month and they're basically celebrating unrighteousness and goes on a full religious rant talking about the talking points of how it's a sin to be homosexual. And it's very tough because I one side it's really like religion is such a tough topic and just going on an IG live tirade just speaking your mind saying just a bunch of things and it doesn't make it seem like Jaden Ivey was in the right state of mind.
it
So
didn't seem like,
well
listening to him, it didn't sound like it. Because a lot of the
it
times the sentences he was making, I had to like listen to the whole thing to see where he was going. So I was like, what point
yeah.
are you trying to make?
He's been bold about his faith, but you gotta understand, like in today's world, like is there free speech? Yeah. Like, does it come with consequences? Absolutely. Like, and you like I just man, do I think him standing up for his faith is a good thing? Yes. Do I think that he's do I question now his actual investment in basketball? Yes. Like why not? Because what like you know what's going on here. And it started off like him saying that he wasn't the same dude uh in interviews in Chicago, like talking about as a player. Well, it's getting a lot worse, and somebody needs to check on Jaden Ivey and just make sure everything's going on.
And
Something
I think it matters because I think part of it is that because he's not playing is a big part of it. Like if he was playing and playing very well, I guarantee you the Bulls would just make him apologize and then just wipe their hands clean of it,
Right, like
which is a totally different because he's a very good player. He's played very well. He's a top 5 pick when he was drafted. Like he's someone that shouldn't be in free agency, and I know he will get picked up by someone else. I think it was
Yeah,
just more for convenience sake than to, stand for gay rights for the Bulls. So I don't think that
exactly.
was really what this was about. I think it was
Yeah.
just the Bulls wanted to shed a controversy just so it doesn't go out of hand.
Yeah,
And more with Jay and Ivy, it's one of those. You just gotta know your situation, man. One, again, if you was an NBA player and went out and said this, who cares, right? But he is an NBA player, so one, a lot more people are gonna hear it and pay attention to it. But two, as we've mentioned, it's the situation you're in. You're on a team where you just got
yeah.
traded that has a shit ton of point guards and shooting guards, and you're not playing, and you go out to do this. That's almost asking to be released. Which maybe shoot, maybe he was, because
And
like
he's
who wants to play
he
with the Bulls?
and he's been outspoken about his faith. He's been very,
Right,
very outspoken about that. But you got to read the room. You got to understand. You got to understand. And he like to act like, oh no, I don't care about my job. Like that's not exactly what the God had intended. I don't think And
right,
I'm not getting spiritual or I'm just saying like you got to question what's going on.
And it's going to fall on deaf ears for a lot of people that aren't, in the Christian faith or, maybe don't really care about religion because there's many of those people too. So like for someone to like, he was just enforcing his views and kind of spreading like I'm also someone that doesn't like when someone just waxes poetically about the Bible and religion and all like, there is a time and place for that stuff. Like if you
right,
want to go to church and talk about that stuff and be around people that are like-minded in that sense, that makes sense. But you're on an international platform
Mhm.
where, I mean, there's so much money on the line, and there's so many like people that don't have the same beliefs and things as you do.
Yeah.
So even if it is like he just said that it was unrighteous, which you could say how you may whether he's right or wrong. That's up for you people to this for everyone to decide on their own. Everybody's gonna have their own different view of religion. You just can't be doing that, man. It's just tough. It's just like on an IG live in front of a bunch of
right.
Right,
people.
right.
Like it's just not the right platform to do so.
It's
It looked like he
almost
was. It looked like he was driving too, bro. Get off your phone.
He very well might have been. That's also dangerous.
Get off
yeah.
your phone, man.
Like
Yeah,
people
it's just a fine line, man. Right up. Okay, I was gonna say it's just a fine line, man, and that's what it comes down to. You just can't. You gotta know where to draw that line, and just to randomly post an IG video of it like, while driving, it's just like ah you're asking for a consequence to come to you, but like you can't do that and not know something's gonna happen.
yeah, you're almost crashing out in a sense.
Yeah, but going to we talk about he's living a lot of money on the line. The Bucks, Giannis, money, Bucks off season. You either get rid of Giannis or you sign him to another huge contract. Could be another 4 year, $275 million contract. If you ask me, the easy option is to get rid of him. I don't see why you would keep him. I get and I understand the point of how good of a player he is. There's no question how good of a player he is. Even now he's older and you can tell the age is hitting him a little bit quicker because he's getting injured a lot quicker than he used to be, which that's also going to hurt trading him because people are going to see that. But I'm just it's just so annoying going through this back and forth of he's gonna get traded, he's not gonna get traded. It was just a hoax, and we're just gonna see what we could get from, but we're not gonna trade him. Like, and
I
then like
am
good.
I am exhausted talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like, can we just like I don't like I'm a fan of basketball. I'm a fan of the game. I love his intensity, what he brings to the game. I don't care where he goes because I'm tired of it. And you know what? Like it's just drama at this point because at this time, like if it wasn't, then he would have he would have done something. But now he's talking about going again, right after he was just talking about signing, and now he's talking about going. It's just like this world war of just trying to stay. It's almost like just a cry to stay relevant in a sense, and I think he's almost like losing his prime. Like he's finally realizing that just Giannis Antetokounmpo and a few select players could take a team to a championship. Like, yes, they did have the right pieces and they did have a great run to the championship, but that type of basketball, like you have to have a whole franchise bought in around that, and he's getting a little bit older, and the money's still, so. But man, am I tired hearing about it. I just want to just talk about something else, cause gosh.
I think that the problem with Giannis specifically is that there's been so many stars in the past that when they say they want to move on and they want to get traded, they just outright declare it. Giannis is playing coy. He's doing the whole will they, won't they, and Giannis is going to get his most money with the Bucks no matter what. So I definitely know Giannis sees that 4-year, $275 million, and he's licking his chops. So it's like, he has a one side of him that he kind of knows the Bucks are played out, and even if they do give him that money, they're not going to realistically put a winning team around him. So I think he's still conflicted all in all. But if you're the Bucks, when is it enough? Because clearly, like, you got to look at the Damian Lillard controversy with him getting traded past his prime and all of that, and look at that, especially when you're the team that traded for him and seeing how that played out, where it's like you have Giannis at his highest value for the rest of his career. So at this very point, you have to look at that and be like, hey, is he bought in? He doesn't seem like he's bought in. Is he, like we just got to get rid of him because it's just plain simple. You're not going to be able to build a team around his massive contract in a small
Yeah.
market like Milwaukee.
Honestly, and with the whole Koi thing, I think also he's playing it as to make it seem like it's Milwaukee's at fault than he is, because like it comes with the whole being bought in. Just recently, he had the injury. He got injured after coming off of injury, came back, played good, then got re-injured, and so the team said, "Hey man, we're just gonna rest you for the rest. We're gonna bench you for the rest of the season." Makes sense. What the Bucks are doing. And then he comes out and is like, "Oh, well, I don't want to be benched for the rest of the season. I want to play for the rest of the season." So then it seems like he tries to play the whole. See, I'm actually bought into this team. They're just not bought into me. They don't even want to play me. And it's like, okay, bro. And I hate when players do that because then it's like if I'm the coach and I say, "Hey, you're not playing," and you come to me, "Hey, I want to play." Tough. You're not playing. That sucks. You can tell me you want
Yeah.
to play all you want, but you're not playing. That's my decision. So like,
Lay the
it,
hammer down, Paris. I love
like,
it.
golly, it's just so annoying. I hate when players. I love when players like want to go out there and do stuff. It's like, hey, I made my decision. Or bench you for the rest of the season. Oh, but I want to play for the rest of the season. Okay, that's good for you, man. You're on the bench. You'll be on the bench for the rest of the season. Like I don't care. I made my mind, and just it's like he wants to play that. And then he can like see the Bucks don't even want me here. I want to play, but they don't even want to play me. It's like Giannis. What would be the point of going out there playing? Y'all can't be in the playoffs. Y'all team sucks. Why was the point of us putting you out there to get re-injured again? And then now the trade value is even worse. Again, you just keep getting injured. So like he is playing cool and he wants to make it seem like it's not him at fault. But it's like you kind of are at fault. You keep going back and forth with them. They're both at fault, but you're feeding into it. So like you can't get yourself out of that.
Yeah, he's like the big baby.
It's like a rowboat where you have two people rowing in opposite directions, and you're kind of just like struggling in the water, trying to figure out where you want to go. Because I'm sure Milwaukee feels exactly like how Giannis is, where you're so conflicted because you always look at the upside of Giannis, where Milwaukee knows whatever return they're gonna get on Giannis is not gonna be what he's truly valued at, or what his like how he plays. You're not gonna get someone like Giannis in return. You're gonna get a bunch of picks, maybe a couple players, like trading a dollar for a couple quarters kind of thing, but you're not going to get the true value of what Giannis would do in a true like market one-to-one stance. But at the same time, now if you hold on to him for too long, you can't let him go to free agency. And
Yeah.
him being eligible for that $275 million contract over 4 years is like you're basically ruining any kind of chance of building around him. You're telling Milwaukee, hey, when you buy a ticket to go watch us, you're watching Giannis and whoever else we can manage to pay because they're not gonna be able to attract anyone else to come there.
Yeah. I say send Giannis to Memphis, man. Giannis to Memphis, John Morant, Giannis, and the first round picks. And hey, then at least people want to watch it, man. Hey, you get something to watch. Maybe John Morant turns around, and if he doesn't, cool, we got Giannis now. But like, I don't know. It's just it's and
John
he is also
Morant Sorry, John Morant to Milwaukee. You're asking for the biggest crash out the NBA's ever seen, and that's
I'm
saying
not saying
something.
say John Morant to Milwaukee. I'm saying they team up in Memphis. You just
At
take
the
the
end,
pick.
Oh,
You
nah,
just take the pick.
John Morant wants out.
at the end of the day, I don't see Giannis leaving, but I do think his desire to win. But I think he like, oh man, it's just so drama. Like at first, I was like, man, you know, maybe I should follow this. It's compelling, and then time after time after time after just, oh man, it's just like
It was
good, good gosh, just save it for us.
it was fun at the trade deadline. We were getting to the trade deadline. You're like, oh man, where Giannis gonna go? That was cool. And then the trade deadline ended and nothing happened. It should have just ended. Should have just been done to the end of the year. But no. Oh, we were just playing. We weren't trading them. Oh, Giannis is an All Star game. Oh, Giannis is gonna trade Shams in the All Star game because of all these things. Ah, yes, it's so funny, bro. You're just so funny. It just got to the point where it's like, okay, just end it. Get rid of him. Let's just be done with it. Forget this. Oh, maybe we'll sign him. Just get rid of him. We're done. Don't want to sign. It's like we're doing a Brett Favre situation all over again. Get rid of him. We're done. Okay, just
Yeah,
Milwaukee loves to just maybe hold on to somebody. Maybe he'll be back. I don't know. We'll see. It's like, just get rid of him, man.
Yeah,
yeah. They know
Eh,
Giannis is most of the leverage, so that's
yeah.
just a sad reality.
And then also going into this off season, you got to think about the Warriors. Because obviously Curry is getting to the end of his career. We all see that. And they obviously want to win again before Curry retires. And obviously Curry wants to win again before he retires. And at this point, Curry's still doing his thing. I mean, I don't know if we get to the point where he's not hitting threes. So you want to win one more time before he ends. And there's a lot of talk. There's been rumors about the Warriors going after LeBron, the Warriors going after Kawhi. For one, that's not happening. I'll say this right now, that's not happening. They're not getting either one. I say that. If they were to possibly somehow manage to get one, it'd be Kawhi. Because I don't know how many years we've heard talking about, oh, what if LeBron and Curry team up? They're not teaming up. That's just not gonna happen. Now Kawhi, it's like maybe, but do you want to risk that with Kawhi? Oh, we get Kawhi. Oh, they look good. Oh, Kawhi's gone. Do we really want to risk that?
I
yeah.
think. Oh, Tyler, you
Go
go.
ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say, like, the Warriors are absolutely gonna do everything that they can do to make the most out of Steph Curry being there. They
Oh yeah,
got, and they. It's not like they're happy with just 4 championships. I mean, that's just not a type of mentality you have when you're trying to be at the top. But, um, but their time is coming to a very, very. I mean, it's past his prime, and you know, you're having to do more to get the same, and to be a contender and to be in the West and to be able to win. And so they're gonna go after anybody and everybody, every
I,
single. Go ahead, every single
I
deadline to get there.
I don't think it's far fetched as you think, Paris, because at the trade deadline, the Warriors were actually trying to go for Kawhi Leonard. And I think with all the controversy surrounding Kawhi and the Clippers, they were it was kind of just all up in the air. What was even going to happen? Is there even going to be a penalty to Ballmer for having this illegal under the table money kind of thing for them? So like I think the Clippers, it's one of those things. Is like, are you willing to hold on to Kawhi, which they seem like they want to? But if the Warriors are willing to put a deal and at least enticing enough to get to trade for Kawhi, I don't see why you wouldn't. And I think LeBron is at a point of his career, especially now he's going to be a free agent this year, it's like for him, obviously, if you're playing to win, and LeBron, all he wants to do is win. And I do think Curry and LeBron are great friends.
mm-hmm.
So I
100%.
don't think I don't think it's too far fetched for him to want to go there because, like in reality, like if you're LeBron, you're looking at the teams around the NBA. It's like, do I just stick with the Lakers because it's easy and they're gonna just pay me whatever to sit there, or maybe I do want to be with Curry because just the idea of LeBron and Steph Curry on the same team, like the amount of jerseys that are going to be sold, just the idea of LeBron being on the Warriors is ridiculous. And then
It would
it's
sell
like,
jerseys, but it wouldn't win. That's not winning.
I think a big three, if they manage to pull that off, which I wouldn't put it at a complete impossibility because the hardest part would be to trade for Kawhi, I think. because there's not many teams LeBron's gonna want to go to, anyways.
Yeah.
And Kawhi wants to be in California. That's his whole mo ever since being in Toronto was playing in California.
Yeah.
Obviously, playing for the Clippers, he'd much rather play for the Clippers and the Lakers for his personal reasons. But Golden State is still in California. You sure he
Right.
may be moving a little more north, but he's very content on staying on the West Coast. So I think just having those three. At the very least, like people's heads will be turned. I think the Warriors
Yep.
will be a much better team this year. And I think if they give up Jimmy Butler for Kawhi, I think that's a fair deal right then and there, honestly. Maybe obviously want to sweeten it up a little bit, but I think a mixture of Jimmy Butler, maybe a pick or whatever trade money to get it even. I think it's possible, and I think that would be a very scary, fun team.
To circle it back, why not Giannis? Why not? Why not Giannis the Warriors? Is that
That's too much.
Well,
The
that's
price
already
is
been
way higher.
and that's already been visited at the deadline, and probably will be visited again. Honestly, if I'm Mike Dunleavy, I'm doing everything I possibly can to get somebody to help Steph Curry.
I'd
It's not.
much rather have Giannis than LeBron at this point. Giannis and Kawhi, eh, nah, Kawhi's a
But
little.
you're
I would
paying
say,
for a rental. You're trading a lot, mind you, because Giannis isn't going to be cheap. He's
yeah,
still not going to be cheap. At least Kawhi, like I think just the lack of availability, even when he is spectacular when he does play, will make the bar a little bit lower to get to him rather than Giannis. But you're at like the Giannis is still the belle of the trade ball compared to anyone else that's in the league right now. So whoever is going to want to go for Giannis, they're going to be giving up a lot. If I'm the Warriors, I don't think I really have that much to really be able to give up anyways, unless you're willing to mortgage the team because you know you're going to sign Giannis after the trade, like after that 1 year rental. Like you
yeah,
have to know for sure you're giving him all the money to keep him and Steph Curry together, which would be a deadly deal. Don't get me wrong.
yeah. Just it's one of those. I'm just thinking comparing players, but yeah, Giannis is gonna be a lot. But I don't know. As much as Kawhi is a quiet player, I feel like he's also very kind of controversial in his own, just because things are always happening around him. So to get him might not be that easy. I feel like it's obvious to get LeBron would be the easiest, but to get someone like Kawhi, if I have to go through the hassle of getting Kawhi, I feel like I might as well just go through the hassle to get Giannis. Giannis is going to be on the court more often, but and you don't need, obviously Kawhi can do a little bit more. He can shoot better than Giannis can, but you don't really need that when you got Curry. Let me pick and roll Giannis and Curry all game. Who's stopping that? I don't know. I stopping the pick and roll Curry and Giannis duo. You're like, that's just like, kind of impossible. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Whether you get LeBron and Kawhi or you just go Curry and Giannis, I don't know. I feel like the Curry and Giannis route might be a more ideal route than Curry, LeBron, and Kawhi. I don't know. I just don't see how well that works. But I can see him, LeBron. I really don't want to see him like LeBron, but they're good friends. I just don't see it. I don't see it. They've been
It,
good friends all this time. They've never teamed up. So like I don't see it now.
it won't look right. It won't look pretty seeing LeBron in a Warriors uniform, but I don't think it's completely out of the range when now LeBron's just sitting on 1 year deals for the rest of his career. Because that's where he's at right now.
That's
He
fair.
still he still thinks he has time, and he still does. I mean, like his production hasn't completely fallen off a cliff. Um, so like he still has at least another year, and he's only going to be signing 1 year deals from here on out. So it's like maybe I think it really hinge on what moves the Warriors make, and maybe LeBron will just tag on and team along after, because LeBron could just take his time as far
Yeah.
as free agent concerns. He doesn't have any urgency or any like, and he could very well just say in the offseason, I'm done, just like that. I mean,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
could be
Yeah,
all
you
for nothing,
could.
LeBron's going to
So
be LeBron, but I think the prospect of him leaving is better than it's ever been as far as leaving LA. But um,
now,
yeah,
now to wrap this episode up, we're gonna get to might be the biggest topic there is right now, and it's this anti-tanking stuff. And now, Dylan, I'm gonna let you take this just because one, obviously you brought this up, and two, you might have a better idea of how this is working. Because when I tell you, looking at what they're talking about, this shit makes no fucking sense. I don't know what I'm reading. I am not gonna lie.
Yeah, so I had to parse through a lot of this. I did find an article like talking about all the different levers. And I was gonna talk about every single individual idea,
Hmm.
and you could go on for a whole hour on its own talking about that. But essentially, there was a memo that was leaked because Adam Silver is taking on this tanking thing and really trying to wrangle this under control. There's been three ideas getting thrown about. Essentially, because of the whole, oh, we don't want the this tanking thing, that's such a bad thing, let's make it so it's a lot more equal. There's three essential concepts. All of them essentially have the lottery being increased to at least include the play-in teams. The first idea is that we go to 18 teams. The bottom 10 teams have even odds. So if you have the worst record to the 10th worst record, you are at equal odds for the top pick, no matter what. And then the last 8 teams, which is like the four play in, and then the other four that probably could have been play in, have odds that go in descending order where, like, if you have the 11th worst record, you have better odds than the 18th record, essentially. But if you're essentially the top 10 have the best odds altogether to get the top pick. The second idea is to go up to the 22 team lottery, where now you're including the first round exit teams, and this is the most insane thing of it all, where they're considering on incorporating the WNBA's rule on the draft, where they don't just look at this year's record, they also include last year's record. So they take a 2 year span of your record and determine the odds based off that. And then the third option, now they're pretty much doing what is considered like a tiered kind of lottery, which is the most convoluted and the most annoying, which I hate all of this, but it's worth mentioning because, again, you're still going to 18 teams. The worst five teams have their own lottery, essentially, where they have the best odds at getting this pick. And we when we think of the NBA draft, we usually think of like the old-fashioned way of ping pong balls, where you have the logo of the ping pong ball and the logo of the team is boom, you got the number one pick, boom, you got the number two pick. But nowadays it's way harder because it's more like you have to hit, like it's quite literally like the Powerball, where you have to hit certain numbers, and if your numbers hit, then you get that pick. So now they're saying, all right, top five teams, they have their own lottery. And then the remaining 13 teams, now you're in a secondary lottery to get picks 6 through 18. But if the top five, if you're one of the worst five teams and your numbers don't show up in that top five lottery, now you're at the very least going to be in the top 10 draft. They don't want you to fully crash out, but they want you somewhere between 6 and 10. So again, this all sounds like complete gibberish and very hard to follow, which, because it is. Like, quite frankly, the NBA is
Wait,
fine
how
where it's
did you
at right
come up
now.
with this?
I
It's
didn't
all
come up with this.
it's
This
on
is
Yahoo.
all
It's like
public
on Yahoo
information.
Sports and stuff. You can look it up. But
Yeah, if you,
he showed well, like he mentioned it, and I looked it up, and
Is it
now
is
he's
it is
talking
it getting
about
some
it.
smoke?
it
Yes,
was leaked. It's a leaked memo to Adam Silver. Those three concepts were leaked memos from Adam Silver and the league talking
Wow.
about ways to change the lottery. Now, the other article that I was talking about broke down 6 different ways they could change the lottery, and there's no set way, and all these ideas are going to be refined and changed. But the bottom line is, why are we making the lottery even more complicated than it already
Jesus
was?
Christ, bro, that shit hurts
Like,
my head.
you
Wow.
already have reduced odds for the worst team in the league. You already have pick swaps happen, where depending on where the pick lands and the protections that come with these picks, you may not even get the pick that you think you're gonna get. That's already all complicated enough. But now you're telling me that either we're going to flatten the odds where, if you're one of the worst 10 teams, or now we're going to be looking at the previous year's record and including in this year's record to determine the odds of the draft, or, now we're going to include play-in teams or playoff teams. Like, what are we doing? Like, playoff teams don't need to have a chance at a good
What are
pick.
we
I'm sorry.
doing now?
Like, it's
Yeah.
just too much. They're doing too much.
I'm not gonna lie. That hurt my head just listening. Golly, I see. Here's the thing.
That's what I kept saying. I kept saying, like, am I supposed to write this down?
It's like, golly, like, what are we? I can't imagine being in
But
that
good
meeting.
job of breaking it down. Really good job of breaking it down
Right.
because I could, oh, man.
I just can't
It
imagine being in that meeting and Adam Silver is just going over these ideas and somebody pitches it on this idea and I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck are we talking about, guys?
yeah.
Is this, are we talking about the
Like
draft
the
still? Like,
15th team on the 24th quadrant on the.
Oh, dude, there was one awful one. That one awful concept was a 5 by 5 rule where you're
I see
taking
that. I see
where
that.
it's now you break the lottery into 3 tiers. You have the bottom 5 records, and you have the middle 5 records, and then you have the following five. Or I think there's four because then they would include 20 teams because they still want to expand the lottery regardless. But no matter how you slice it, I look at the NFL as like the golden standard. Like everybody, all the American professional sports teams are all below the NFL as far as how they market the game, how they go through the draft process, like the off season, all that. Like every single month, the NFL has some kind of headlines going on, and people are constantly trying to like the from the combine to the NFL draft is very exciting for a lot of teams
Yeah,
because
it
they
is.
get to look at the college prospects, you get to see how they're doing in the college playoffs, and you get to see them in the combine, and you already know where you're going to be picked. Like the lottery is a fun idea, but now you're telling me I have to do math. You're telling me I have to look at pick swaps and pick locks, and then now I have to see where I fall amongst the tiers of teams with records. Now I have to look at last year's record too. That doesn't even include this year. Like
Yeah,
all everything that happened last year should not be in this year's draft.
so much for
Like
the
yeah,
Pacers getting a
WNBA
pick.
does it.
That
Yeah.
happened.
So it's like if I have to
Golly.
take a calculator to figure all this stuff out, man, like you're gonna only alienate your the fans more. And like if you want to expand the lottery to include playing teams, I guess fine.
No,
If you
it's
want
just
to, and even that's not the best idea
I mean,
either.
they
Like I'm
already.
not even fully for
You
it.
understand the Mavs were a lottery team last year.
Barely. They were bottom. They had the worst odds. And considering that the teams with terrible odds can still get the pick anyways, completely debunks all the tanking that happens
right.
anyways. So the
That's my
reason
whole
the
issue.
bottom line is that this is the gambling. This is not a new theory. This is something that other people have been saying, but it's essentially because the gambling companies that are very close partnership with the NBA and all these teams, mind you, they don't want to make it easier for a fan to predict who's gonna lose games and lose money on this stuff. Which not like they make billions and billions of dollars anyways, but they want to take any way they can to siphon people's money out. And now they're in Adam Silver's ear saying like, hey. We look at the Nets that are pretty much guaranteed to lose every game. We don't want them to have the incentive to go for a better pick, which I mean, again, if we're worried about taking that much, abolish the draft. Let's figure out something that's not the draft because all these new stipulations and randomness that's like the lottery is fine. Keep the lottery as it is. Nothing should change. But this whole initiative just feels like Adam Silver feeling like he has to do something because he always feels like he has to change something.
How I see it, there's no way to fully combat tanking, and that's why I think the lottery kind of does it itself. That's why I have no issue with the lottery. I think the top three is fine. You can push it to top five. Top five gets lottery. That's fine. Top 10's where I kind of like, I don't know, but top five is fine because that still makes it like you can be the worst team and not even get the top pick. That kind of, like I said, that kind of defeats the whole purpose. You're the worst team. You're not even guaranteed the top pick. But even like with the NFL is set. You are the worst team in the league. You get the number one pick, and people tank in the NFL, and it's never that big of a deal. People do not care. We watch those games at the end of the season. Oh man, who thought to lose this game that gets us up to the number one pick? We pay attention to that. That's gonna happen. And basketball same way. There's gonna be teams where the year goes on and you realize, shit, man, it's not my year. So we're just not gonna compete that year, and that's gonna happen. Now, if it's the same team every year, I can understand to a point like, all right, guys, what are you doing? So you obviously aren't getting better. So what are we doing? But again, that's where the lottery kind of comes in because they can be the worst team for the past 3, 4, 5 years in a row, and they still might not want to get the number one pick. So like, doing all this extra dance, hoopla, gibberish makes no sense when the lottery already gets rid of the possibility of you being the worst team and getting the number one pick. No matter what they do, they're gonna do all of this, change all this, and teams are still gonna tank. That's just what's gonna happen. Teams are still gonna tank. Well, like,
Yeah.
Like you have to make it a financial thing. Like
right?
if a team is found to sit players that are healthy just because they want to lose games, then there should be some kind of like I don't know, a cap hit or like you should get like maybe luxury tax fines or something like because also same thing with these billionaires like Steve Ballmer for example, he has so much more money than all these owners that $5 million is like dropping a $5 bill on the floor for him. So like you would have to make the penalty like actually something that makes teams afraid to
Yeah,
sit healthy players out, but like that's as far as it should go. Changing all because like making the lottery more unpredictable and like there's only so much randomness unpredictability that you should have
yeah,
because now as a team that has one of the worst records, you go into the draft and you don't have the same like excitement for it because you could be a borderline playing team and almost have the same odds as the worst team in the league. Like even like flattening the odds like how they did with the worst three teams, like I think that's fine because the worst three teams are about the same record
right.
anyways. Like it's
Yeah,
not like
yeah.
but once you start hitting the borderline playing teams, we're talking about a 10, 15 win difference in these like, situations. So it's like when you already have the Spurs getting Wemby in one lottery, you have Cooper Flag going to the Mavericks in a lottery. Like we've had plenty of examples of teams with low odds getting number one pick anyway. So it just all this just feels like they have to do something just for the sake of doing something when it just only makes people less hype about the draft.
Imagine they flatten the odds this year, like they did that this year, and then a team like the Warriors got the number one pick this year. It's like, okay, so, or like a team like the Hornets got the number one pick this year. It's like,
Oh no.
all right, so this
I-
team that was looked real good was
I'm not gonna.
competing.
I'm not gonna be one to talk. So
Uh, I'm just
But like
listen,
playing
man.
teams is where the
That's different.
line should
Yeah,
be at.
it's
Like,
different.
like because the whole point of being in the play is to make the playoffs, and they're even considering to add a first round exit team. So now even think of like a Sixers now. Like if we want to go as crazy as 22 teams, I was just waxing poetic about how how the Sixers have all this talent. Now they land the number one pick. Now they're looking down the barrel of a Pearson, Boozer, DeBanza when they
The Atlanta
definitely don't
Hawks.
need the Hawks or it's just like when is it enough I want to know where the NBA considers it be a success because I also saw some things too where they were considering making a floor for certain depending on your record there should be a floor where it's like all right if you have the worst record you can't be worse than the sixth pick and I don't even like that either because it's even then now you're kind of diluting you're defeating the purpose of the lottery like the
Right.
lottery now kind of just feels like a superficial kind of thing rather than what it should be just complete chance and probability so I don't know there's just
I mean,
so many different ways that they're just doing it and it just makes they're doing too much they're doing too much plain and simple
way too much. They're thinking way too hard about it. The lottery like I said, the lottery kind of does it enough to the fact that like you can be the worst team in the league and you only have a 15% chance of getting it. Like, okay, granted, yes, it's high, but there's two other teams that have that chance, and I mean, not even you might not even get that. So it's like, well, what's the point of doing all of this? And as I said, they're gonna tank no matter what. Teams tank in every sport. There's tanking in NBA. There's tanking in NFL. It's kind of harder to tank in MLB when you play 162 games, but like again, you get to a point where you're like, oh, guess what? It's not gonna be our year. We're just not gonna. If we win, we win. If we lose, whatever. Like,
and
it's just
it's not like the players don't want to win. There's still
right,
plenty of these players that are looking to get to that next team, that next contract, or looking to prove that they deserve to be in the NBA. Where even if these teams are trying to lose, there's still plenty of players that want to win. So like it kind of just it's just like one of those things where the NFL has the off season so down pat where it's all an event. It's every single month there's something going on. And the NBA, in my opinion, is the second most popular league in America, and they're trying their best to ruin it for themselves. They're begging the NHL, they're begging the MLB to leapfrog them with all these different changes.
yeah,
Like it's like, can we stick to one problem at a time? They're already changed the All-Star game 45 times. Now we're going to change the
yeah.
lottery every year because this lottery sucked. All right, now we're going to change it to this kind of lottery. And then it's like Just I'd rather them just do what the NFL does. Screw it. If teams want to suck, so be it. They're gonna
Right.
suck. You know, not,
Okay.
you're not gonna get every single team in playoff contention just by magically changing the lottery rule. It's just impossible. It's just not possible. Plain and simple. There's gonna be teams that suck every year.
Right. So why like one of those when you suck when you realize, hey, we gonna suck this is a bad year. Why not lean into it? Why are we like let's try our best? Like it's like man, we suck. Let's just suck. Okay. let's just suck. We team fans, you know what you're coming to watch. We're gonna suck. It is
Yep.
what it is. That's what Patriots do. Hey, Patriots like, oh, it's not our year. We're about to lose. Except for the last 3 games, we decided to beat the Magic and beat the Heat. I don't know what we're trying to do out here, but we decided in the season, let's start winning games now. Let's forget our chance of winning, getting that top pick. So yeah, it's just a complicated thing. So that's definitely gonna wrap it up this week. But definitely in the comments, if anybody knows a way of how to fix this, anybody has any idea of how to fix this, I just want to hear what people's ideas of what they would do for this draft because at this point, there's no right or wrong answer with what they're trying to do. What they trying to do
There's
sounds like
some
the
wrong
wrong answer.
answers. Trust me,
Listen,
there's wrong answers.
Adam Silver is the
It
wrong
comes
answer.
down to what they want us to think the NBA draft is because we know it's just them picking who they want to be the teams that are in the draft. Let's be real about it. I mean, come on.
And this is
Uh,
not a fan push initiative. This is clearly through the commissioner and through these teams that are
yeah,
coming up with this. People have complained about load management and players sitting out, but I don't. No one's ever cared about tanking, especially no bad teams. No bad teams fans ever cared about tanking. They want to have the best pick and the best chance of
right.
getting a pick. So like, unless if you have a good team crying sour grapes, that they will have a chance at the top. Like this feels like a something that the gambling companies are trying to get to really make the game as unpredictable as possible, which there is such thing as too much unpredictability.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is, and like I said, I think the lottery's fine, but you never know. Like I said, so if anybody has ideas, just see what you would do. Like I said, I think the wrong answer is just Adam Silver. Anything that comes out of Adam Silver's mouth is the wrong answer. That's what I figured out so far. So if anybody's got ideas, see what you would do. Next week, we'll be in the playoffs. We have exactly 7 games left in the season. So by next week,
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
we will be in the playoffs. We'll be getting to the national championship of college basketball as well. So a lot of basketball going around. Obviously, Dylan's got a lot to look forward to with this, with the Celtics, with where they're at right now. Me and Tyler just get to spectate. We just get to sit back
Man.
and watch these games.
Hopefully just this year, brother. Hopefully this year.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
gonna
a
need
miss.
you guys to reel me in because I'm definitely gonna be the cloud nine. It's so over, it's so back every single week. So I need you guys to reel me in when I'm when I'm
Listen,
ready to give up on these Celtics.
listen. I
Yeah.
understand it, man. Last year, granted, I got to ride in Cloud Nine last year because the Pacers got to just coast through the East. Really, we just went through that. But like,
Man.
when was the last time we saw the Pacers do that? Not when I was alive. So
Reggie Miller days.
I had showers on Cloud Nine. So again, Dylan's got a lot to look forward to. Me and Tyler just get to sit back, relax, see what happens. Hope we get good picks, and obviously we'll have more offseason talk as we get around to that. So stay tuned next week as we will be talking NBA playoffs, play-in tournament, who wins these games, and we'll mention some of the college basketball and national championships. We got to mention that. So stay tuned, 9 o'clock on the Grit Network for the Pull the Share podcast.